I'm a lawyer and I'm going to tell you when it's a good idea to represent yourself and when it's not a good idea to represent yourself. Let me begin by saying it's not necessarily always the case that you will need a lawyer to advise and guide you through the legal process. And from time to time, a client will come, they'll get some advice, and at some stage I'll tell them, look, I actually don't think you need a lawyer for this. It sounds like something that you can probably handle yourself without much difficulty, being able to do what you need to do. But the starting point should always be, without a shadow of a doubt, that you try to get some legal advice about your case. Now, if you can afford it, private legal representation is fantastic. And generally speaking, if the lawyer has enough experience, they can go through your entire matter and come up with a strategy that makes sense in a relatively short amount of time if it's relatively simple. We're talking things like a parking ticket, we're talking things like a very minor type matter. Usually the lawyer can guide you through that and give you a real direction in a pretty short amount of time. Now, if it's anything more serious than that, and I would say about 95% of things are more serious than that, then you must get legal advice. Like, it is crazy that you wouldn't. Now, generally speaking, at most courthouses, there are going to be legal aid. There is going to be sometimes a duty lawyer, which is a lawyer that just gives advice, triages legal problems and helps you out. They can assist. There might be a duty barrister. That's a barrister who sits and triages legal situations and gives you some advice. But it's so important to get that advice as early as possible because you are bound by the decisions that you make, even if you make them out of a place of complete ignorance. And often people will make terrible mistakes. One of the most common ones is they plead not guilty because they may have an explanation or something that they think is a defense, but isn't actually within the meaning of the law a defense. And so they lose all of their discounts. They get the judge offside because something that should take maybe 20 minutes ends up taking hours of court time, and it just is a big mess. So always seek legal advice, and based on what that lawyer tells you, then decide, well, do I actually need a lawyer to help me to get to the next stage of this? But always seek the preliminary advice. Follow me for more legal TikTok.